so full.
Welcome to the Coming Alpha Podcast. My name is Dan. As always, we got Brandon behind the camera.
Hello.
We're sitting here with Ryan, the founder of the Milwaukee Makers Market.
You got it.
It's great to sit down with you, Ryan.
Yeah, I'm happy to be here, that's for sure.
So we got this candle from Ryan.
Milwaukee Makers Market candle. Yeah, made my big white Yeti. Definitely light it up.
Can I say we're happy to be here at one of the coolest venues in Milwaukee?
Yeah, Discovery World in the pilot house upstairs. It's fantastic. Discovery World has been a huge supporter of Milwaukee Makers Market over the years, and we're super happy to be able to record in here and also have Father's Day Milwaukee Makers Market this Sunday, so June 20th.
Hell yeah. So that is why we are in here today. Milwaukee Makers Market is coming Sunday.
Yep.
How many do you have this season?
So yeah, it's a big season. We started in April at Kind Oasis, and then May at Ivy House. So we have June 20th Discovery World. We have July 11th Discovery World, August 22nd Discovery World, September 26th here at Discovery World. And then we're going to jump back at Ivy House for our Halloween one, October 31st. It's going to be super fun. Costumes are encouraged for sure.
Hell yeah.
Then Shop Small Saturday, we always do every year here at Discovery World. That's November 27th this year. So Shop Small Saturday. So switching it up from Sundays to a Saturday. And then we'll be back for our holiday pop-up at Discovery World December 19th. So that'll end out the season, and then we'll get things going for 2022.
You're a busy man.
Yeah.
That's excellent.
Thank you.
How long have you been doing this for?
So this will be our 6th season, I believe. Wow. So, a long time ago, I started out as just a photographer and an artist and a maker and looking for places to get my work out there. And Makers Market was kind of a thing that was starting to evolve. And
nationally Makers Markets?
Yeah, just kind of these art and craft shows. Milwaukee used to have things called Art versus Craft. And we also have some awesome events like Hovercraft and Urban Garage Sale used to be a kind of an art and craft event here and stuff like that for makers. And so, at the Collectivo parking lot, Makers Market started to spring up. And it was a cool scene to be able to promote my photography and my artwork. And then it just kind of fell into my lap where I was being asked to run some of the Brady Street Sunday Fun Day art markets and help out with art in the park at Humboldt Park. And so Makers Market was kind of on its way to ending because the coordinator was starting a family and moving on to different job prospects. And so a lot of people looked at me and said, hey, you're already kind of in the waters for this. Why don't you kind of take it over? So I took it over and rebranded as Milwaukee Makers Market.
Oh, did you have the rights to do that, or how did that happen?
So Courtney owned Makers Market, and she ran it, and we had lots of conversations about taking it over, and we decided that she's going to keep Makers Market, and I was going to just kind of make my new baby with Milwaukee Makers Market and go from there. And it's been an awesome experience just growing throughout the year, starting at Collectivo in Bayview in their parking lot. Of course, Milwaukee weather can be very, it changes every hour. So we wanted to start moving it more indoors, and Discovery World invited us to do an event here and an event there. And
when was that? How long ago?
That was about 2015. So
wow.
Yeah.
So right away.
Yeah. They wanted us to definitely do the Shop Small. So they invited us to do Shop Small because it's November. You can't really do it outside without freezing your butt off.
Yeah. And where in this venue?
We started in the promenade. So right when you walk into Discovery World, they have this gorgeous hall. So that was where we started. It was in the promenade, and then we've gotten bigger and bigger and bigger over the years. So they said, okay, well, we have this brand new pavilion now, the West Pavilion. So that's where we're going to be this year, is in the West Pavilion, where we can have even more makers and plenty of room for social distancing and things like that. And I'm definitely happy to see the progression of Milwaukee Makers Market over the year, just getting bigger and bigger, picking up these different venues such as Discovery World. Ivy House MKE has been an amazing supporter. And we've even jumped around to different breweries throughout the years. We've had events at Good City Brewing on the east side, MKE Brewing Company with Glass and Griddle, which is now Bottle 42 down in the downtown area there. And just kind of moving and shaking as we can throughout the city, trying to partake in Bayview Gallery nights still, and and yeah, just always looking forward, trying to make it bigger and better for the city of Milwaukee and for these small businesses.
And how do you get these sponsors? Do you cold call them a lot, or is it a lot of referrals?
It's just networking, you know. I tend to, hey,
you seem to be very good at networking.
Thanks. Yeah, it's. I always say that it's small Milwaukee. Yeah, we're a big city, but hey, somebody knows so and so that works with so and so. Well, hey, do you mind sending me their email or letting me just talk to them? And that's how it works out, where these connections happen, where they hear, you know, oh, so and so's running this event. Well, I heard that's a good person. You want to talk to this person that's in charge of this venue or this, you know, market scene, and that's how it just happens. It's a very organic, that it's not just where I'm picking up the phone going, I hope the right person picks up and we can do an event with them. You know, it's a lot of organic networking where good people introduce people to other good people. And so,
certainly.
yeah, and I feel like that's a great thing to continue with. And obviously coming across, you know, you guys and having you come to Milwaukee Makers Market and boom, just having that attraction where it's like, you know, the makers at the event and how they put their blood, sweat, and tears into it. And of course, if they're doing well, then you want to meet, well, who's running this event? Who's doing this? And then crossing paths that way. It's just, yeah, it organically happened. And,
yeah. Excellent. And that's why we do this, is it helps meet people, but also the people that we're watching, and we kind of get the story of you and what you're doing and the people that you know. And a lot of times you're talking about people that are associated with the event, and we're just like, yeah, we did a podcast with them, or we did work with them, and we try to connect them, like the TP one that we did last with Ben. Funny enough, Kind Oasis does like CBD stuff. Ben's getting into CBD for his company, and that was just a connection that we made, and hopefully the two of them, you know, spark something. But that's why we do it, is connecting meaningful people, meaningful relationships, and man, we just want to build Milwaukee.
Exactly. And yeah, I mean, it's as simple as that, just going, oh, hey, I did some work with Kind Oasis. Oh, you're going to be doing CBD? Let's bring it together. And
that's how we met.
Yeah, exactly.
It's through Kind Oasis, yeah. Megan was doing, I believe, her pop-up there. Before that was her coffee, and then there was Sugar Cube Donuts. You know them?
Yeah.
Dude, I love Sugar Cube Donuts. This is the first year I heard about them.
Oh, yeah, man. You put a pre-order in because they sell out so quick.
I didn't know that they had a root beer float one, and I was like, I need that. So we went that morning, and they were sold out, and I'm like, oh, no. So now I always pre-order from them.
Yeah. The best. Yeah, if you want that sugar rush, definitely get the Sugar Cube Donuts for sure.
So starting out, what was the biggest problem that you had? How did you get like vendors to come in?
Yeah, I mean, with Milwaukee Makers Market, you know, like I was saying, I started out just myself trying to get my artwork out there, and hearing all the good and bad things. You know, some people were like, oh, I really wish this was a part of this event, or going, hey, I really liked this about this event.
Do you know any specifics?
Well, just, you know, such as like music, wanting to have that, or, you know, obviously, I try to do.
That would be great.
Oh yeah,
a live band. Have you done it?
Yeah, we've definitely had live music for our shows. Some of the other events that I run, like the Eastside Art Market, we have live music for all of those shows for everyone. Milwaukee Makers Market, when we were outside, we did have some live music. Now that we're doing more indoors, we tend to just, you know, have the house music playing. But of course, we take requests, so to speak. Like, what are you in the mood for? Let's play some summer jams and stuff like that. And
I've got an idea. Just a side note. Brandon and I were just at a wedding, and the DJ had a QR code.
Okay.
And anybody before the wedding or during the wedding can come up, scan the QR code, and just put anything in the playlist.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And that could be an interesting idea. I don't know the app or what it is, but if you had just a QR code that you could scan into and have some fun with that, it could be an opportunity.
Yeah, that's a cool thing to look into. And that's what's great, too, about technology always evolving and being able to interact with everything. So that's a great idea. But, I mean, just, you know, some of the ups and downs of outdoor markets and hearing what the makers really wanted. They wanted to make sure the event organizer is there, you know, in case an emergency happens or something happens. They want to have that person they can trust, that face with it. And, you know, I've done events where you're just a number. You check in and they go, yeah, you're number 12, you know, see you later. And then I never see them again the rest of the event. Where it's like, no, I will always be at my events. I will always be greeting the patrons that come in, thanking them for supporting local, knowing that they are part of this community. The small businesses, the patrons, we're all in this together. We're all part of this community, and we all want to see it grow. So, yeah, just hearing some of those things where they were like, I really liked this about the event where the organizer was there. If I needed to, just run to the bathroom, I could go, hey, do you mind watching my booth? You already know all about my products because you accepted me to be a part of it. And so, I go, feel free to get some lunch, take your time. And, by the time they come back, I go, hey, I made a couple sales for you.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. So, it's always a good, just a good flow like that, and getting to meet all these small businesses, all these makers, artists, students, even, some of our makers are MyEd students, UWM students. They're just trying to get, their new book out there, or their artwork, or, just they do digital work, illustrations, things like that, clothing. Yeah. So it's always great to have that. And thankfully, we haven't had any crazy, things happen where we just go, you know what, we're never doing this again. This is the worst thing ever. No, it's always been positive feedback. And, one of the things throughout the years is that I did here is just, we need to have a more diverse crowd of makers, and that's something I've definitely tried to do, whether it's LGBTQ, whether it's different cultures, African, Latino, all these different styles of art and makers that, I wanted to include them. And at first it was kind of a niche community where it's like, oh yeah, I heard about this just because so-and-so did it and they told me about it, where now I feel like we're really broadening out into the city of Milwaukee and past Milwaukee, where now I'm getting these people applying that have all these different backgrounds, all these different cultures, and it shows in their product. And I'm like, yes, come do our events, because I want that diverse mix of makers, just so everybody can find something they love. And usually they do. If you come to a Milwaukee Makers Market, you'll probably find something you really want, or you'll get it as a gift for somebody because they'll really want it. Just having that diverse group of makers, it brings in a diverse group of patrons, being able to be all around Milwaukee, whether it's here downtown, kind of Discovery World, going to the east side, doing events at kind of Oasis, going closer to Walker's Point with Ivy House, trying to hit some of those different neighborhoods. We get people, I've had people drive from Chicago to a Milwaukee Makers Market, from Madison to a Milwaukee Makers Market, just because they saw it on Facebook or Instagram and said, wow, that looks fun. And it looks like there's going to be lots of stuff I want there. And that's where I tell people, especially if you're not from Milwaukee, but even if you are from Milwaukee, it's an experience. You're not just coming and going, okay, well, how much money do I have to bring? Because let's see how much I'm going to spend. No, you don't have to buy a single thing. Just hear their stories, why they make what they make. Introduce yourselves to them, because they're going to be happy to tell you why they make what they make and how they started and the passion they have for their product. Whether it's food, clothing, jewelry, candles, soaps, they're going to want to tell you their story, and you'll see that smile on their face when they get to tell you it. And if you do make a purchase, you're helping that local community, and that maker economy is what I call it, stay in your neighborhood or in the city you want to support, because they're either going to spend it on another maker's table and take something home with them, or it's continuing to grow their small business. The stories I hear at the events are just so good, where, oh, hey, we went to high school together, or, oh, I knew you lived on my street, but I had no idea this was your business, So just bridging those connections, just like we were talking about networking organically. You come to a market, you have over 40 different makers, you're going to run into somebody that is friends with one of your friends, or you went to high school with, or they live in your neighborhood, or you've just always, had an interest in their product, and now you actually get to meet them and go, oh yeah, I bought something off your website or off your Etsy store. Now I get to meet you in person. Yeah.
It is very exciting, and I'm glad you're going with the route of diversity, because Milwaukee is a beautifully diverse city, and some people think of it in negative terms, but it shouldn't be thought of that way, because we have all these different spaces in Milwaukee, and they're all unique in their own way. And I think some people just need permission to come in and do a maker's market. So it's nice to hear that there's talk throughout the people, and hopefully some people hear, oh, I can do this too. And you don't need to just sell online, because selling online can be incredibly difficult. And sometimes you need that start just coming into a maker's market.
Yeah, definitely.
And if say, the maker's market is coming up in 2 months and you sign up for it, maybe that's the push you need to create what you need to create. Or to have that idea, so you don't just come to the maker's market with nothing to show up with. So
I think it's also nice to have your product in front of somebody and see somebody's perception of your product, to get that interaction with somebody. Because I think so many times people create something or make something, but until you you can get so much insight from somebody looking at your product and being like, oh, I like this, I don't like this, or just feedback that helps you adjust and change and get better with whatever you're selling.
Feeling the product too.
Yeah.
Is just huge. Like online, okay, it's pictures and videos, but man, there's just nothing like being in front of the person that made it and saying hi, and the tactile experience of feeling what they make or putting it on, or just even the candle, smelling the candle. Yeah. It's like, to smell this candle and walk away would be awful. Like I would smell this thing, dude. Every time I come to a candle shop and smell it, it's just like, oh my God, need these.
So I have a question about getting, vendors at your, when you started essentially. What did that look like? Did you ever have one that felt, maybe like a failure, or like, geez, I still got more work? And how did you get people? Or was it receptive right away where, you just had success?
I mean, I definitely wouldn't say we've ever had like a failure, but it was tough. There was definitely an uphill road because it was a small niche thing at first where I was like, okay, I only know of this handful of people because I've done a show with them before. So that's who I'm going to reach out to and say, hey, would you like to do some of my markets? But then just getting people to realize, hey, this is something where you can be a student, you can be a first-time business, small business owner, you can be a hobbyist that's trying to get to that business level, and just go, hey, you can trust us. This is something we're really trying to build up. It was tough. The first year, I maybe had 50 applications, and we have about 40 makers per event. But if they don't choose to do every event, well, then I'm really struggling to fill some of these spots just so we do have a good mix of makers. But now to present day, I have over 300 applications, and usually only about 150 actually get in because then we're full so quick. So
how do you choose?
Oh, man, the process is, I do have a committee that comes in. And it's a mix of patrons, a mix of makers themselves, and then myself, and then usually my intern as well, just to get that fresh pair of eyes on it. And so it's a mix of things of, obviously just professional quality. Obviously if you are a hobbyist, you might not have the budget for these professional labels and things like that. And that's okay. But just, showing that your product is a product that can be taken serious and it has that professional vibe to it where, okay, this is somebody that is putting their blood, sweat, and tears into it. And they're not just taking something, throwing it in like a Ziploc bag and going, here, buy this. It's like, no, they have their name, they have this established idea of where they want their business headed. So being able to see that,
certainly shows.
Yes,
everyone that I've been to, everyone has their shit together.
Yeah,
every single one of them.
I appreciate that. Yeah, so that's a big part of it, is just showing that even if you're not at that big small business level yet, and you're just starting out, but just showing your vision in your application, like this is where I want it to go.
Do they submit pictures or anything?
They do, yeah. So in the application, you tell me about your business, you explain the direction you want to go, and then they submit photos of their products, and if able to, a photo of their booth display, so I can see how it looks. And some of them have never done an event. They tell me straight up, hey, this is going to be my first market, but I'm ready to hit the ground running. And I go, cool, let's give you a chance. And then, the range of products. I try to max it out where, if I have a lot of soap or candle people applying, I never want to oversaturate it. So if I know, okay, this person got accepted for this market, well, I'm going to limit it to 2 candle people per market. I'm not going to have 10 candle people and then only a couple So
I didn't know this was a candle market.
Yeah, exactly. Because it's just going to hurt everyone as well. If it's say, one jewelry maker and another jewelry maker, and both of their styles are completely different, well, they're not competing. They're just they're different styles of jewelry at the market then. And so that's where I try to limit those things to 2 or 3 of a similar product, because otherwise you're just oversaturating it, and nobody's going to have a good day then.
So do you keep track of that in terms of, okay, so I had these 2 candle makers this time, next one, not those 2, but we'll pick the other 2.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. We try to alternate it as much as possible to give everybody a chance. And that's in all categories, whether it's food, jewelry, clothing, illustrators, things like that. I always try to never oversaturate and have that mix of makers. So somebody that comes to the Father's Day market this Sunday, they can come to July and go, oh, this is all new people? Awesome. I'm going to come every month now. And that's where, again, it's kind of 50-50. I would say we have our I don't want to call them alumni or veterans, but they've been with us since the beginning. Big White Yeti Candle is a great example. James Steno Gallery, I'm wearing his shirt today. They've been with us since the first season. So the fact that they even saw the drive I had to continue making Milwaukee Makers Market a bigger and better thing and sticking with us, that's where they're going to always apply every year. Well, I hope so. And I'm happy to see their application. And I'm going to put them on those dates because they are some fan favorites. People will come to my markets and say, hey, is James Steno here today? And I say, yeah, he's over there. Go check him out. But make sure you check out everybody else too. And then they'll fall in love with another maker. So yeah, 50% I would say are those veterans that keep coming back every year, and I want to include them. And then the other 50% is all new, people that I've never even met yet, and I'm so happy to see now a face with a name with their business, shake their hand, get to know their product. And so yeah, that's what I tell everybody. It's about a 50-50 mix. You're going to see some people you may have seen last year or at another market, and then 50% all new people that you've never even met before.
That's excellent. That's exactly how it should be.
Thanks. Yeah, so I mean that application process, it can be scary, I suppose, but it shouldn't be. We do charge a $5 application fee just to weed out, because I used to have so many applications where the number one thing about Milwaukee Makers Market is you must make what you sell. So it must be your product. You're not just buying it wholesale from overseas and trying to sell it here. So I have had a lot of those applications where it's LuLaRoe or Avon or Mary Kay or Tupperware, things like that, and just to get all of that out, just so they don't apply. Because I mean, I understand your hustle is your hustle, but don't apply to a Milwaukee Makers Market because
it's not the brand.
Yeah, defeats the purpose of the Milwaukee Makers Market.
Yeah, I want people that are making what they sell. So that's definitely one of the big things about the application process. But yeah, I mean, pay that $5 fee, send in your application, and the worst thing that can happen is if you don't get in, you're still on my radar. You're on that waiting list. And if somebody goes, hey, my kid is sick, or we're taking vacation, I can't do the event anymore, can you please open up my spot? I go to that waiting list and I go, all right, who wanted this event? Who's next in line? And I'll send you an email. I'll give you a phone call and say, hey, come on up, you're next. So there's never that like, no, you weren't good enough, you're not part of the show. It's no, you're on my radar, you're on the waiting list, and I can definitely still have that opportunity to hit you up and become a part of this.
Do you have people ever calling you saying, hey, I really want to get in on this?
I do, yeah. And that does help too, where if you're on my waiting list and an opening happens and you just catch me that day with an email or a phone call and say, hey, just checking in, I go, that's motivation. You just checked
show
in
your
with
hunger.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm like, yep, you're it.
Yeah.
So, and that's always great to see is that, that hunger to promote their business and continue going. And I'm not going to lie, during COVID, it was definitely tough having to scale everything down, make it more social distance, making sure a lot of the makers were comfortable wearing masks the whole time and able to, health reasons and things like that. But now that COVID is clearing up, we're getting back to the normal game.
Nice.
I'm planning on filling in even more makers and making it bigger and better.
So from a business perspective, so is that all, you just the $5 fee, and do they have to pay something else to be if they actually attend?
Yeah, so if they get accepted for whichever markets they applied for and they get accepted, it's $50 per event. But again, I've had makers, not to really shout out numbers because these are just estimates, but I've had somebody pay, the $50 booth fee and walk out with over $2,000 at an event. So it's like, that's where it's worth it. And, as a maker myself, I've done those events where, man, I dropped $300 for an event. I better make some good money, because otherwise I just, if I only make $300, I broke even and I spent a whole day selling product that now I need to make more of. And, and I spent money on gas and food. So that's where I always try to make it affordable, where you can pay that $50 for the market and hopefully walk away with triple, quadruple, the amount of money and sales and new customers and networking. And even then too, I've heard it so many times where a person will have maybe a low sale day, but they passed out all of their business cards, and then the next week they're lined with orders up on their website.
Awesome.
So even though somebody might not be making those purchases that day, they might just be checking things out. That business card is as good as a sale, because a week from there, they're going to go, oh yeah, I saw you at the Milwaukee Makers Market. I'm going to order 10 of these or whatever. I just didn't want to do it right there that day. So yeah, I mean, just handing out that business card is almost as good as making a sale that day.
I laughed because we did a wedding vendor thing for a wedding show or whatever.
Yeah.
Where we set up for videography, because that's what we do other than marketing. And we put so much time and effort into this, and it was like what, $1,200 for this or something like
expensive.
that. It was very because you make a lot of money on weddings because there's always weddings coming through. And we set up a booth. We put so much work into this with a red carpet to like a photo booth thing, and then we could talk to them.
Chairs,
and we thought it went well. And then another person comes over and is like, "Wow, yours looks different." I was like, "Yeah, we thought everyone's just looked too wedding-y, so we went with different directions." Like, yeah, that's kind of the point. So it was a learning experience, but ultimately we talked to a lot of people, but I don't think we got one wedding off of that.
No.
We didn't get one wedding off of it.
And that's the thing, you tried to stand out, and you did stand out, but then people are like, well, I don't know if they're different. But hey, that's where people need to go, hey, if you're different, get them, because you're going to stand out. Your wedding's going to look different. So
it was a great learning experience.
Yeah, oh, definitely. And that's where these markets can be like that too, where it is a learning experience, but it's a safe environment. You never have to worry about just having the worst day ever, or somebody coming in and being like, this is garbage. No, everybody that comes to these markets are there to support the maker economy, to support these small businesses. So that's why, I tell these people that are just trying it out, apply. It's a safe space where you don't have to feel like you're in over your head or anything like that. And that networking is definitely there.
$50 isn't a lot of money to spend to invest in, like I said, the education of getting your product in front of a lot of people. What you'd learn from that, I feel like, would be very valuable.
Yeah. And I mean, I've applied for some of these markets, a little bit outside of Milwaukee, where it's $75 just to apply, non-refundable. And I'm like, okay, I'm giving it a shot. And then I didn't get in. And I was like, man, that was dinner and gas money I just spent on a piece of paper.
Dinner in a nice place and gas money.
So $5 application fee, $50 per market you get accepted to. It's definitely affordable, and of course our goal is to make sure you make that money back and more, as well as helping your business grow and networking.
That's you're really looking out for these people with that $50.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing is, I was in their shoes, and I still am sometimes. I still do markets with my artwork and my photography. And I know what it was like to just have one of those days where you're like, do I really want to do this as my career? Do I want this as my life and start this small business? And, I want to make sure that nobody at my markets ever goes, this is not the right path for me. I don't know why I'm an illustrator. I don't know why I'm a clothing designer or anything like that. I never want that doubt to ever creep in their head, because it should be a safe space. It should be a space where the organizer's looking out for you and you're not just money signs and a number. Because I've been in that position where, like I said, I showed up. They said, oh, yeah, you're number 12, number 13, see you later. And they never even asked for my name. They didn't even care who I was or the product I had. They were just like, yep, you paid, you're in, and there's your number, and I don't care. No, that's not me. I care about everybody that's at my markets, why they're there, wanting to grow their small business. And that's, I don't know. I just think that's how it should be. I'm just that type of person where,
it's the perfect job for you.
How do you get over that doubt? I mean, I deal with it. I'm sure most business owners deal with it.
Nerves beforehand. Everybody gets nervous beforehand.
Sure. Yeah, and that's where, as soon as you show up, if I see you kind of wandering around looking lost, I'm making a beeline right for you. Hey, I'm Ryan Laessig. How can I help you? Who are you? What's your product? Oh, yeah, your number, whatever. I'll guide you over there. Do you need a hand? I'll grab a box and help you over there. There's no reason to just be like, yeah, thanks for the money. See you later. I don't care how you do, because that's not helping anybody. It's not helping Milwaukee Makers Market. It's not helping the community. community and it's not helping your small business. And no, I want all of the opposite of that. I want to help your small business grow. I want Milwaukee Makers Market to grow, and not just for me, but obviously for these small businesses, but for the city of Milwaukee. I mean, the fact that people can come out and enjoy themselves, whether it's, by themselves, as a couple, or as the whole family, come on down and enjoy yourself, especially if you're here at Discovery World. I mean, you can make a whole day out of it.
It's a perfect thing to do for an afternoon for anybody, is to come through.
Do you sell beer there? Are you allowed to drink there?
Discovery World has a cafe where they sell beer, so I don't sell beer inside the market, but Discovery World has beer. Ivy House, every time we do with them, they got $5 mimosas and Bloody Marys, so that's always a good time.
I was going to say, if you're doing Wisconsin and you're doing Milwaukee, you got to have some adult beverages.
Yeah.
Can you have like a Bloody Mary booth?
If they have their liquor license and a bartending license.
That would be kind of cool, dude. like a make your own bloody type of deal. That'd be kind of sick.
Yeah, sure.
That'd be awesome.
Like a Subway setup, but make your own bloody.
Yeah, there you go.
That'd be sick.
As long as you're IDing, the kids that come through.
I mean, we can make them virgin Bloody Marys. Everybody likes some bacon and sausage,
There you go. Yeah, just boom, tomato juice, a little bit
breakfast.
Of beef jerky in there. Some bacon.
Kids meal.
Yeah. So you brought out the doubt, right? And I feel like everybody has that. If you're doing something, you're running a business, you're doing some sort of art form. How did you deal with that? From an artist perspective.
Just keep pushing, have that confidence in yourself and that support in yourself, and know who your support system is. If it's family, if it's friends, if it's other makers that go, you know what, your product's really good, and you've had a good show, even if you had a bad show. I mean, I told this story yesterday that I did it was an art and crafts show. So it wasn't really pushed as a maker market. It was an arts and crafts show, and it was in the basement of this building. I didn't make a single sale until I was packing up. This woman came over and she was like, oh, my grandson really likes your work. I'm going to buy a piece for him. And I shook her hand and I was ready to cry. I was like, thank you so much. Because that at least then paid for my booth fee there, that one sale. And of course I was like, what am I doing? But you just got to know the shows that are right for you. And that's where with Milwaukee Makers Market, having that diversity, everybody can fit into it, where you're not just in this small hole of, okay, this is a craft event, I really don't have crafts, or this is more of a vintage event and my stuff isn't vintage. Knowing your audience and knowing what shows to do can help build your business and alleviate some of that doubt, where it wasn't your product that did poorly at the show, and it wasn't even a poor show, it wasn't your scene, it wasn't your clientele. And so that's where knowing what who likes your product and where it can grow is a big step to alleviate that doubt. And all that takes is just, say you're looking at the lineup for a show and, there's a link to their Facebook page. Send them a message. Hey, how did you do? How was it? What do you think? Here's a picture of my product. Do you think it's a good fit? And hopefully they'll let you know. Or I have people reach out to me. Hey, I do more craft type things. Is it a good fit for your show? And sometimes I go, yeah, it'll fit in perfect. We have crochet, we have knitting, we have fiber artists. And then other products, I go, you know what? It's more of a craft fair thing. I feel like it might do better at this show. And then I give them a link to that show, and then they write me back, hey, thanks for letting me know. I didn't even know that show existed, and I did fantastic. So again, I'm never looking to go, no, your stuff is not what I'm looking for. It's no. I go, hey, it might not fit with our audience, but it will fit with this audience. Here's a link to their show. Here's the people running it. So yeah, again, that networking where I see you're trying to grow your small business and you're just trying to fit in. I don't want to just take your money and go, yeah, join us. Because if it's not a good fit for you and you're not going to do well, I'm hurting you rather than helping you. So I'd rather send you somewhere that will be helpful.
Have you ever thought about having two tiers? Like maybe the first one is $50 for the newer people, and then maybe a higher tier like $150 for the veterans?
So I've tossed around some of those different plan of attacks for how we do Milwaukee Makers Market. And I think just to keep everything, I don't want to say like fair, but just to keep it kind of the same across the board, is where we really haven't tweaked things too much unless it does become an issue. It's kind of been one of those things where we always want it to grow, but don't fix it if it's not broken. So, and that's where also depending on our venue might change prices. So, we are in talks for 2022 with some bigger venues. I know it's hard to think what's bigger than Discovery World here, but we have some big places in Milwaukee, you know, with teams that play awesome sports. And that's all I'll say about that. So, you know, we're having talks with some of these venues, and that's where it might change price just because of cost. You know, it might cost us more to do an event at some of these other places. So then the price might go up. But that's where, yeah, I want to set it at a spot where I know everybody's going to do well. So, yeah, I mean, I have a notebook full of what things we can maybe do in the future. But as of right now, I'm just trying to keep it nice and level for my own sanity as well.
And another random thought, why don't you do like percentages?
Like
you take a percentage of the sales. Have you ever thought of that?
I have, because I've done a show like that where I was a maker and they asked for a percentage, and you know, it was cool because I didn't have the best day ever, so I was like, cool, I only had to pay, you know, like $40 for the show, because I think they took like 10%. So, you know, I made $400.
Reasonable.
Yeah, and they only asked for $40. But then some of those other people that maybe had like a $2,000 show and had to pay, I don't know what it would have been, $200 or whatever. Yeah. And then you're like, oh man, you know, if you can pay $50 for my show and make $2,000, well then you're good. But if it's a percentage show and you made $2,000, well there's $200 right out of your money. So that's one of the reasons I haven't done.
But
a percentage
it helps the show grow.
It can, yeah. But then again, it's that catch-22 where, say it's just there's a playoff game, you know, a World Series game, and you know the Summerfest going on or something like that, where everybody only maybe made, you know, $20-$40. I don't want to take their money then, where it's like, you know, it was a rough day for everybody. We were trying to compete with some of the biggest things going on in town, and it just wasn't a good event. That's where I'd also feel bad taking any percentage of that money, just because it might have been a terrible show. So yeah, keeping it just straight across the board with that $50. I've never had it where, I mean, again, thankfully, I've never had it where a maker came up to me and said, you know what, that was just too much money and this was not worth my time or my effort. I've always had good feedback, and if I ever have gotten some feedback where they just go, hey, you know, I think this could have been done different, or you know, could have been a little bit more, you know, signs to where the bathroom is, just things like that. I'm like, hey, thanks for letting me know. Like, so I am always open to that constructive criticism, or that, hey, maybe this might help this or work a little bit better for next time. So that's always great when I do get that feedback.
How do you, so that brings up a good point of like, you know, customer experience. So what is your thought on how you handle a customer experience in something that is literally an experience for somebody to come to, like, you know, like grocery stores set the milk in the back so that you have to walk through it all. Do you take into account the setup when it comes to the specific type of vendors, how they're set up, how you kind of lead them through?
Yeah, definitely. That's a great question. So yeah, kind of what I was talking about before, where I limit like, okay, 2 candle people or 2 soap people. I never put them next to each other, because that's, why would you do that? But
Fight.
Yeah, exactly. So I'll do that where, say they happen to be on the same show. Like, you know, they're doing a June show and then doing maybe a September show together. Like the same 2 people might have signed up for those dates. You know, I'll put one soap or candle person or jewelry person towards the front, and then separate it where it's all different makers in between. And then towards the end, I mean, there's no bad spot. But then towards the end, I'll do the other candle and jewelry maker and candle maker and, you know, clothing. And then at the next show, I'll swap it. So then, okay, you think, oh, they might have had an advantage because they were, you know, number 5 instead of number 25. I go, okay, well, now we're swapping it. So now you're number 5 this month and they're 25. So I do take that into account, where everybody gets to rotate their booths. Everybody gets a chance to either be at the front of the line, the middle of the line, or the back of the line. But again, there's no bad spot. I've never seen a person come into the Milwaukee Makers Market and just go to one booth and get the heck out of there. They might go to that booth right away because they want to get something before it sells out, but then they'll go around and do a couple laps. So that's what's really nice is, you know, I've never heard from a maker that, oh, you put me in a crummy spot. But yet I've done some of these other shows where I'm a maker and somebody comes up to me and goes, yeah, I'm in the corner where there's like no lighting. People are just walking past my booth because they don't even know I'm there. And again, those are those things that I hear people complain about and go, I'm going to make sure I never do that. Like if I feel like I'm putting somebody in a weird booth space, I'm going to ask them, hey, is this okay? Do you want me to get some more lighting? Do you want me to, maybe shift your booth a little bit or try to, ask somebody else if they want to maybe swap spots? I always want to make sure everybody's taken care of. And yeah, from a patron's perspective with the experience, I always want them to come in. And if I'm not at the door, maybe one of my interns is or a maker is, you're going to get greeted right away. Thanks for coming. Thanks for supporting these businesses. Because again, this isn't show up and take out your wallet. It's show up and experience what is in your city. These small businesses, you literally could get everything you need at a Milwaukee Makers Market. Yeah, you might not be able to get the milk, in the back of the freezer, but you're going to get some sweet treats. We have chocolate vendors, we have cotton candy, macaroons, cookies, brownies. We have clothing, we have soaps, we have body products such as face scrubs and bath products, even bug sprays. Nourish Natural Products, she has bug sprays, she has sunscreens. During COVID, I was using her mask knee spray. I'd spray it in my mask and put it on because I got this luscious beard, but I'd start to break out a little bit from those masks. It would get so sweaty in there. Yeah, I'd spray it in the mask, put it on, and it smelled great, and it cleared my skin up right away. So that's where you think like, oh, it's just arts and crafts. No, it's everything. You're talking about professional artists. You're talking about these crafters that are putting in so much time in their product where you're like, wow, I'm not going to see this at Target. I'm not going to see this at Pick and Save. These are, exquisite chocolates made by Sugar Studio and things like that, or different brownies and things made by Bunny's Bites, gluten-free vegan products that you're like, yeah, I don't see this at Target, but this is being made locally, so you can continue to support locally and then find your new favorite treat, your new favorite clothing designer. That's how I came across Wisconsin. Wisconsin's a local brand, and I love their products, and I saw them at a market, and I was like, you're my new favorite clothing company now.
Wisconsin.
Yeah, Wisconsin.
It's a great name.
Yeah. Yeah, Joey, he runs that company. They've been around for many years, and they have a great, obviously with COVID, they've moved pretty much all their products online. But now that COVID's over, I'm sure you'll start to see them at some of the street festivals and hopefully Milwaukee Makers Markets. And that's where, come to a Milwaukee Makers Market for that experience of getting to know your neighbors, getting to know these small businesses. But I'm fairly confident you're going to find something you like, and it's going to be something you want to keep coming back for, where you're checking the calendar, you're checking the Facebook page. Oh, are they coming back this month? All right, I'm going to go there because, I used up all my soap. Oh, I got some stains on my T-shirt, my candle, I've used it all up. Or that you're buying it for a gift for somebody. The artwork, it's so hard for me not to buy new artwork at all of my markets because there's always a new artist or illustrator where I'm like, man, I really dig this. I got to find some more room on my wall now to put it up. And so many different types of things, such as ceramic products, mugs, coffee vendors. I have so many of them where I keep repeating like soaps and candles and clothing. But if I were to have the list in front of me, it's so many different products, macrame, succulents, dog leashes and bandanas, dog collars, so much great stuff. Handmade cards, one of a kind. So Hannah from Mental Paint, she does one of a kind collage cards that she types up on her grandfather's typewriter. And every card is one of a kind that she makes and puts together. And if she posts it on Instagram, like, hey, gonna have this at the market this Sunday, you better be the first one in line because I guarantee someone's gonna come and get it. Her products are so great.
She makes journals too.
Yeah.
I bought a journal from her 2 years ago. That's how I met her.
I'm gonna have to get one of them.
Yeah.
I was thinking, just a fun thought. I feel like it would be a great place for a first date because you would very quickly learn what somebody was about just by walking through what products. I feel like what we buy is almost a description of who we are as people.
Totally.
Because we identify with brands. Brands almost become our personalities. So I think you learn pretty quickly what people are into.
Well, it's funny you brought that up because I've seen that, especially like at Ivy House. They come for a mimosa and a Bloody Mary, and I'm like, hey, thanks guys, what are you doing? You know, having fun today? Oh yeah, we're on a date right now. We're getting lunch and we're coming here, and then all the way to the end of the spectrum of that, where people are coming to the makers markets because they're about to have their wedding and they want gifts for their bridal party and their groomsmen and stuff like that. So they'll come to the Milwaukee Makers Market going, oh, I want candles for this, or a custom order for this, or different treats at our wedding. So yeah, I've seen it from the first date all the way to people that are about to get married in a couple of weeks and go, yeah, we need some gifts and we want some products. So again, it's that experience where so many things can happen at a Milwaukee Makers Market, such as running into somebody from high school or from your neighborhood, or just bumping into your friends where, yeah, same thing, they're having a mimosa and so comes in, oh, what are you doing here? What do you mean, what am I doing here? It's Milwaukee Makers Market. We're coming to have some fun and experience it. And yeah, bringing a first date in, bringing people that aren't from Milwaukee. It's a great way to open their eyes to what Milwaukee really has to offer in these small businesses and in these products. So yeah, I mean, that's where I can't think of one reason why you're like, oh, we shouldn't go to a Milwaukee Makers Market. It's like, no, it's your city, it's small business, it's supporting local, it's showing people that aren't from here what we're all about. And it's a great place, yeah, for a first date or for planning your wedding products.
There are no negatives to it.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I'm a little biased. I think it's the best thing ever, but
you might leave broke. That's the thing.
Yeah. The only downfall is, you might be spending more money than you thought you were.
So wrapping this up, why don't we talk about you? We went this whole time without saying anything about your booth.
So it's funny that, especially with my interns and some of the students I work with at UWM, they keep going, hey, Ryan, why aren't you on all the flyers? Why isn't your face on all of this stuff? You're the guy behind it. You're the name. And the same thing. I always tell them it's not about me. I'm just Ryan Laessig. I'm an artist. I'm an educator. I'm a community promoter. I work with some nonprofit organizations. I do what I can to make my city better, but it's about these small businesses. You're coming there. Yeah, I'm going to greet you. I'm going to shake your hand. I'm going to thank you for coming, but I want you to continue to support local, support Milwaukee, and support these small businesses. But yeah, me behind the scenes, I do what I can. As an artist and a maker, I've been doing photography for over 10 years. It's alternative photography, lots of tattoos and fashion designers and models and things like that. And then my artwork is more street art inspired, Banksy styles, stencil work. And I'm a big nerd, so I do a lot of Star Wars art.
A lot of Star Wars, yep. It's the Star Wars and Milwaukee mix I've been seeing.
Yep, yeah, that's exactly it. So I tell everybody, if they ask me for a quote, I'm a nerd with local pride. That's the best way to put it. I love Milwaukee. I love all the cities here. I love what Milwaukee has to offer. And I'm a nerd. So when I make artwork, it's basically like, well, I think I'd like to hang that on my wall. Hopefully somebody else will want it on their wall. And then we've done collaborations with Amanda Glinsky, Milwaukee Alt. That's some of the movie monsters taking over different, iconic places of Milwaukee. So, we have the gorgeous art museum behind us. So one of the designs is a Kraken coming out of Lake Michigan taking over the art museum.
Nice.
And that's where it's fun for people of all ages. You want to put it in your kids' room, put it in your kids' room. You want to put it in your college dorm, put it in your college dorm. You want it in your, in your man cave or something like that because you've always loved some of those nerdier things or those cult classic movies, put it in your man cave, So it's always great to be able to have my artwork spread out through all the different generations that enjoy it. And then, I teach during the week high school art fundamentals. My corny line is always, you can't have art fundamentals without fun. So I try to make it fun. And then, when I can, I'm working with UWM on branding and getting some of those interns that want to get into the scene of event coordinating and things like that. And working with some of these nonprofits such as Arts at Large. Arts at Large is in the Walker's Point area, and they've been so supportive, not only of Milwaukee Makers Market, but of me and my journey as an educator, as an artist, and now as an event coordinator. If you're a company that is looking to make Milwaukee better, I'm going to probably send you an email and go, hey, do you need my help with anything? Or, can I promote you in any way? Having some of these talks with Greater Milwaukee Foundation and the things they do for our city, and always just, yeah, I mean, that's what keeps a smile on my face throughout the day and helps me sleep at night, knowing, did I do something positive to help the city of Milwaukee today? Or am I leading up to doing something positive to help the city, rather than, yeah, I just, did a normal day, went grocery shopping, played some video games, and which, I don't mind doing. I don't mind a slow day where I hang out and play some video games with my friends, but I'm always looking forward to just push Milwaukee in the right direction, and knowing that I can do that with Milwaukee Makers Market, hopefully with my artwork and as an educator as well. Yeah, I got no problems. I love what I do.
Mm-hmm. So what's your dream?
My dream.
Where do you want to be?
Oh man. My dream would be to obviously make Milwaukee Makers Market super huge, where we're like a giant name, and we're as big as Summerfest or something like that, but I don't think we're ever going to get that far. But hey, I can dream.
Gotta believe to get it there.
It's true though, and that's the thing.
You could take over Summerfest.
Yeah, well, that's definitely
Makers Fest.
See, and that's where you hit the nail on the head right there, is just showcasing what is out there, and where, I get 300 applications now where I never knew that many makers and small businesses existed in the city of Milwaukee.
Me neither. Yeah.
And so if I'm able to grow it and build it where I can showcase all of those makers, then I'm definitely happy to do that. Again, though, you got to be careful. You never want to oversaturate. That's been an issue, too, is, every single town now is jumping on, I don't want to say the Makers Market bandwagon, because some people really do a great job. I spoke about James Stino and his designs. His wife, Heidi, a fantastic event coordinator. She does a lot of things in the Washington Heights neighborhood and stuff like that. And that's where I'm always going to support those, and I'm always going to make sure one of my events isn't on the same day as one of theirs, because I want to make sure we're not competing or hurting each other. We want to continue to help each other out. So yeah, seeing some of these farmers markets and makers markets, I'm super stoked about. But there's a right way of doing it. Reach out to those other markets and say, hey, we don't want to compete with you. What days are you planning so we can plan a different day? Because it's going to help everybody out, including your makers as well, to make sure that you're not competing with other events. So I am happy to see Milwaukee evolving in that way. But, as long as some of those people that are just in it for the money aren't continuing to do that, because you're just hurting our maker scene then, where you're just, okay, cool, pay it, you're in, and set up here, and we're not going to promote it. We're not going to tell people about it. We just want your money. So those are the things that are hurting Milwaukee. But, I'm shifting gears here now. But yeah, talking about my dreams, just, I love being an educator. I'm pushing more and more to go to the college level and teaching more classes at like MyEd or UWM or both. I love doing that. But I think just being able to, maybe find a job I can retire a little bit early from and continue doing these markets, it keeps my passion going. It keeps that fire inside me going. Yeah, it helps me sleep at night. So it's not that I have like a dream of, being an astronaut or anything like that. It's just making sure that what I'm doing for Milwaukee and how I present myself and the way people see me and get to know me is the real me. And one of the things I definitely live by is, I know I'm going to get it completely wrong, but it's a Ralph Waldo Emerson quote, where knowing that you've made this world a better place rather by, a social change, a garden, helping the youth, that's where you've succeeded in life. Where if you've made someone's life easier, even for a day, you've then succeeded in life. And that's where I try to live by that.
There's another quote, help enough people get what they want, and you can have everything you want. Who said that?
Zig Ziglar said, you can have everything you want in your life
if you help enough people get what they want
in life.
I love it. That's fantastic.
Yeah. Well, Ryan, we are truly blessed to have you as the leader of Milwaukee and the leader of the Makers Market. We appreciate your time today.
Very much.
Thank you.
Why don't you plug your Instagram?
Sure, yeah. Milwaukee Makers Market on Instagram. We also have a Facebook page. We always post our makers on there and do maker spotlights. And otherwise, www.milwaukeemakersmarket.com. You'll see the whole season up on there. And that's where you can also apply, too.
Excellent. Give them a like and a follow. Like and follow us. Subscribe. We love doing this. We love promoting local people and
keep working on yourself.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Keep
Appreciate
working on
it.
yourself.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah, thank
Appreciate
you.
it.
Sweet.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Really appreciate you.
Yeah, thanks.
Love it.
Yeah, nice.